Welcome back to Hearts of Iron. It is November 14th, and the war is in full swing, as you could tell. And there is a naval invasion over here in Bremerhaven, but that is not a port. And I mentioned this in the last video before this even happened, that if you press invasion, sometimes you'll land a tile next to your target. And that might be what this is here. They just missed the actual target. This should be defendable. They can't get a port, they won't survive. So even if I do lose a quick battle, I am strat redeploying here from Hamburg or something, maybe somewhere more up here. But yes, I should be able to fight that. And the big problem here is actually that my fighters have been beaten by these CAGs at some point. I missed it, but they are definitely beat by them. So I have some other stuff in the area, and I was moving something from Berlin back across. I guess I'll move this one closer. Munster, I don't know, is that in range? No, it's not. So again, try the rebase if you can, just because it saves your organization. Now, in the meantime, I'll give you a quick update, things that maybe are going on. Yes, I got Denmark. So now the goal is actually to go up to Norway. I don't know when. Something I did do as well is I'm moving some subs out of Hamburg to the oceans, right? Kind of far away though, so I have one coming over here just for Norway, kind of out of range of the allies, mostly. And then I have one coming way up to Reykjavik. Why? Well, just because it should be something. To be honest, there isn't a real reason to do this, but it's just something to get maybe some naval experience going, and still being quite far away from the allied fleets, so yes. I have those two missions for now. And also, because I'm able to leave port, I just want to see what they have here. And as you can see, they have looks like a battleship, 2 carriers, 2 destroyers, a landing craft. And because I see 1 landing craft, I know that it's probably not that many troops. It's probably like a couple divisions, right? At the most. So I'm not that scared. They have some subs as well. Oh, wait, no. Actually, one of them is mine, right? So they have 2 subs and some kind of light cruiser, I guess. So no, it's pretty easy to deal with, I hope. And then over here, this is pretty much over, like I've said, at least this country over here, the Netherlands is pretty much over. But they are starting to beef up their defenses down here. Something interesting is that, for example, over here in Wissembourg, maybe it's how it's pronounced, I don't know. Yes, that is a VP, and something nice about Hearts of Iron 3 is that, I think it's in 4 as well, I don't remember. But in 3, all these tiles are VPs, and the idea is, you know, if you take the Maginot Line, you kind of just win the war because everything over here is kind of just open, right? So yes, that is quite nice. So at some point, I may be able to get this. What you would probably do is take some bombers, take some TACs or CAS, and bomb one tile, specifically like this. And then you can attack this one from 3 directions. Yes, it's a river, partially. Yes, it is hills. Yes, it's a level 10 fort. But that is a garrison division. I don't know what other support brigades there are in here. I can't really see, but that's the idea here. And over here, the goal is to get Brussels. I don't know if I'll win this. Probably not. I mean, it's possible, right? It's actually quite unlikely that will reinforce. But to the north, I'm pinning them down, and to the south, I'm pinning them down. Something worth mentioning, I did not mention yet, is if you're trying to take one tile, like Brussels, for example, it's probably worth it to attack next to it. Not necessarily to beat them, but just to keep them occupied and to keep them from reinforcing Brussels, in this case. Now, air forces, I kind of mentioned it. I kind of got beat up over here, not a big deal, by these CAGs, but they are, let's see, where's this? Yes, those are the CAGs. And then over here, I'm kind of not using my air force at all yet. I just want to save them for when I actually need them. So if I get bogged down and I need full strength fighters, or bombers in this case, then I have them available. The last big thing I want to mention here is technology. Now, you can research stuff ahead of time. I don't think that's a big surprise to many people. There are some cheeky things you can do if you're trying to be lame or you're playing multiplayer. Like, for example, if you research, where is it? The nighttime attack, this one right here. This is an insane technology, and if you research this in 36 at the beginning of the game, you will get it at some point soon. So yes, if you want to be cheeky and be ahistorical, you can do that. You can also rush nuclear bombs if you wanted to. Although I would not recommend it, because that is a level 10 tech, which means it takes a very long time. Very long time. The purpose of this whole screen right here is, personally, I like to research new stuff for the next year, starting in November. So I started some of these new technologies November 1st, because the penalty for being ahead of time is kind of non-existent in November. So I start them there. And I have the big ones such as IC. Not manpower yet, but things like this one right here is very nice. Again, like this is one of those ones that if you want to be cheeky and you want to min-max without regard to integrity of your game, you would research this computing machine from like day one, right? And you get benefits of that over time. You know, you want your decryption and encryption. You want your basic military upgrade. Now, some of this stuff, I plan on making a series with the Soviet Union eventually at some point. These things, something worth mentioning I did not mention yet is, if you research these first two tabs over here, armor and any direct unit upgrade, it costs not only leadership to acquire, but then IC to apply over here on the production screen. But if you go doctrines first, doctrines don't actually use IC to be applied to your units, and they might spend like 1 day worth of IC, which is nothing, right? This is better to research in case you're trying to be efficient and most effective, but obviously you still want your piercing. That is absolutely mandatory, so yes. That being said, again, go for the IC stuff, go for the big stuff. Let's see, so I have a lot of projects in right now. Take some time here. Everything here is not, yeah. So 40 is a big year, I mentioned this before. It's kind of like, it's like an atavistic quality where every other year is important and every other year besides that is not important. Anyway, that's enough yapping. Now the action here, let's just unpause it for a second and see what happens with this naval invasion. Again, I only see one landing craft, so I don't really care. I could probably beat this pretty easily as I go over there and boom. Are they gonna attack me or Interesting. As you can see, wait, what, they have attacks as well? Where's that coming from? Must be coming from down here, maybe? I have no idea. There's no way they could reach from here, can they? Norwich? Maybe they can. I don't know. Where is this? Where is this battle? Is anything gonna happen? Oh, God. Yeah, that is a lot. You can see I'm beating up their CAGs with just some stinky anti-aircraft. I don't think there's a... Yeah. There's not an actual... Wait, what is this? They have a CAG somewhere around here off the channel. Or in the channel. Anyway, Brussels. I may actually get this just because this is such a good division. If I get that reinforcement, it's pretty much over there. Now over here, I didn't mention this yet, but there's like 1 VP left for the Netherlands, and it's probably going to be taken any day. Maybe it's right now, actually. They have VPs over here, too? Yeah, maybe I just need more stuff. Not a big deal. But I don't actually see this naval invasion, which is kind of surprising. They might have just left. So I kind of want to check that out, but I don't want to sacrifice everything. So I'm going to do... Alright, I'm going to take one of my subs here and just take a peek and see what happens. I don't really want to go like that. Alright, so I still see all their garbage here. Yeah, it's just one landing craft, so I don't know what the problem is. I don't know. But this is kind of nasty. Okay. Here it is, the Battle of Bremerhaven. Yeah, it's one division. That's very disappointing. That is so disappointing. So anticlimactic, but this is an easy victory. Let me just check. Yeah, this is a dummy. He has way better stuff. Let me just keep an eye on this. I don't know if I'm still using some order. Yeah, so over here, for example, I want to start attacking. The problem here is that they have some piercing. I did get Brussels. It was... I kind of know why I got it now with just one division. It's because these guys are absolutely insane. Their experience is over 50% at this point, so they just get a flat 50% combat modifier, which is very good. As I wait for these other guys to catch up from this way. They have not capitulated yet. Not sure why. Maybe I should add a war goal or something, but I don't really think it matters. Over here, this is already over. Oh yeah, what is this? They have a second one? Hold on. Maybe I should investigate to see if they changed their their composition here. So I'm gonna just investigate this, and let me just... Should I move out from here? I probably should. Man, stop. Okay, so this guy should stay. I'll just wait, actually, one more day. I could attack like this, though, and maybe I'll get some... Nope, there's no penalty for being enveloped yet. I only have 2 directions, but if I took one more direction... I guess I could do this, right? Now there should be a envelopment penalty of 10% for them. Over here, it's kind of a waste of time. I don't know what's the problem here. They have piercing. I should still win this pretty easily, right? It's not, yeah, that's pretty easy. Let me just see what this is. It's still 1 landing. I don't understand how that's... Oh, okay, so what must have happened is... What the hell is this? I don't even remember putting these guys here. Yes. This is an easy victory, so now I guess I'll just move this guy here, just in case, and then I have a whole nother core here that I use for Denmark, which is kind of pointless, so I suppose I'll just move this entire core back over here to the new border, up here in, like, Memel area. Good, and as you can see, they're starting to flood the border with troops. I don't see anything scary, necessarily. It's just basic stuff. Not a big deal. I moved this armor division up from over here someplace, and as soon as they saw it, they gave up and they went home. I will keep moving this division west to help clean this up because these are garrisons. They are very slow, right? So you want to clean this up quickly with something like this. Now, I will get pierced, but they can't resupply, so who cares? Now, down here, I'm kind of messing around too much. I'm not really paying attention, and it's kind of starting to become evident. For example, the attack modifier for these divisions are like 30%, 40%, and the defense on these is like 130 and 109. I should start being more careful about my attacking down here. So I'm gonna have to quickly take this out. Once I take this out, it's like... That's like 2 cores worth of divisions that are just gonna be stuck there and made to surrender. So I'll get that. What has to happen here is I need to knock Belgium out, and as soon as that happens, I need to rush France, because if you don't get to Paris, it could get nasty pretty quickly. They got rivers, they got some forests, but yes. This is what I was talking about regarding attacking without necessarily trying to win battles, but just pinning stuff down so you can get the tiles you want. Now, the tile I want here is obviously Bastogne, because it's kind of like a salient, right? It's touching like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles, or no, 4. I guess Bitburg is not touching it. It's pretty close though. So 4 tiles, good enough. The goal is to envelop it, meaning you hit it from all directions, because that adds a penalty for their defense. At the same time, you want to attack the tiles where they could go to. In this case, these 2 tiles are right here. So yes, I'm attacking. I'm not going to win these battles, but I will just prevent them from reinforcing the tile I want to take, and it just helps make things easier. Something that did happen, which is quite unfortunate, is I did lose an entire tactical bomber wing. I was helping them bomb some of these small battles, kind of like a pointless mistake. One entire thing got obliterated and is deleted from the game because I just was not paying attention, and it's gone. Well, there is another naval invasion. This one is probably also not going to succeed because I have stuff in the area right here. So I'm going to strat redeploy this light armor division to this tile because this is plains, and of course armor is great in plains. And they probably can't pierce this. My armor is 5, so they would probably need something equivalent to stop me here. This is kind of weird. Again, here are their CAGs. Looks like they only have a couple carriers here, not like 10 like last time. But yes, this should be quite easy to defend. In the meantime, I did get Brussels and... Not Brussels, but Bastogne. What you want to do is stop your attacks as soon as you get the tile you want, just because you will use up all your organization and you might actually lose stuff. Like, for example, over here in Antwerp, I think it was. I almost lost Antwerp, actually. It was quite close of a battle, but I was able to reinforce with this armor division quite quickly coming up from the north, so they stopped attacking. But yes, just always be careful about attacking too long into losing battles. You lose manpower, you lose I'm not sure if we lose officers. It's just bad in general. One of the best parts about Hearts of Iron 3 is that there are so many tiles to fight combat in. Now, in this example up here, I have this entire Netherlands, it's like 2 cores, right, that are trapped up here. I think I've destroyed a couple divisions already. I could destroy like another 6 if I just hold off here to the south. Now, to the south, they are attacking, and it's quite interesting, right? It's interesting because they could reinforce this and just completely pierce me and push through and maybe save some stuff. Or I could actually reinforce this as well, and then they will definitely not be able to relieve these divisions up here. And at the same time, what I could do is I could attack from multiple directions, giving them a combat penalty, so they're dropping organization both in this battle and in this battle, and then at the same time, they're dropping extra organization because this is a penalty on defense. I have won that battle for now, so now I have shored up an entire core or a core and a half worth of armor divisions, so now it's time to really push south here. I'm continuing to push. I'm probably going to stop here along these rivers. It's not really worth it pushing too much further, although I can get some nice VPs. There's not really a point in pushing for VPs until I have Paris, right? Doesn't do much. There's some IC here, actually, so maybe there is, but Sedan, it's just like a historical battle from World War I. It's probably why it's a VP, or in that area, at least. The goal is to move these armor divisions, and this is like, what, like 2 cores worth, and then just pound all the way to Paris along these plains. This is exactly why you want to put your very best guys at the bottom of your order of battle. They have some dummy, some skill 1 guy, and I have a skill 6 guy. And of course, they picked a tactic, which is attack, countered by counterattack, and of course, Manstein picks counterattack, and he stops their bonuses, and I get a good bonus because it's a good tactic, right? So, as you can see, they have no modifiers for, what's it called? Damage bonus. And I do have that, so yes, that is quite nice. Now, because of that, this battle is somewhat close. It's like 58. They have some nice stuff. They could pierce all my stuff. And again, this is plains, so, and then if I look at the terrain, if I click the tile, they're attacking from Lille or something. There are no penalties for attacking that. That is a completely fine way to attack. It's plains, there's no rivers. So yes, that is quite nice that this is happening the way it is. December 19, and Belgium is now officially fully occupied. Now the idea, again, is to swing hard south. If I look at all my forces here, this is actually almost an entire army's worth of stuff. It's like 3 tank corps and infantry corps all together. The goal is to quickly outflank the crap out of them. And what should happen, or at least what I'm trying to do, is take some territory quickly over here. And then hopefully they will pull back stuff over here, so then I attack this way as well. Because you're going to need VPs over here for sure, somewhere. If it's just taking 1 tile, if it's coming down from the Luxembourg area into, was this, Metz and Sedan, or do you just keep going along the coast and go this way towards Caen or whatever? This is how you play good defense in Hearts of Iron 3, and this is something that is not really a mistake. The mistake here is to use your fastest division to occupy a new tile first, while everyone else lags behind like this. What that means is they will be in combat by themselves for a little bit. You say, so what? Well, the so what is that what's going to happen here is you're going to have these divisions arrive, and they're going to be, let's see if I can press play here, they're going to be in reserve because the combat has already begun, and there is a small chance that they could actually join the battle at all. So if these guys lose the battle for everyone else, they all retreat. What you could do on defense, in this case this is what France did, you give them a backhanded blow. They want to push up, so then you push them back immediately with whatever the first division to cross is. This is kind of a mistake, but it's not a big deal in my case because, you know, this is, let's just say I have like 3 corps that are going to breathe down their neck right here. It's the end of the year, so this is a great time to end the episode. There is plenty more to come, so stick around and subscribe for more.